Guys, so I'm going to go over form with the Oneida. Now this might not be the perfect textbook way of shooting an Oneida, but it certainly works for me. It's largely what works across the board until the actual release. It's the only thing I've really tweaked since shooting the Oneida. But yeah, so we'll go from the ground up. In a perfect world, your feet will be perfectly in line with your shoulders, which is great for Olympic style shooting and some target style shooting. But if you're in the woodlands, if you're in forests, if you're on a boat, not really 100% guaranteed all of the time. I think what's more important is that you're centered. Try to keep the weight evenly distributed between both feet so it's sturdy, you're not likely to slip over, and you don't feel uncomfortable when you're drawing back and anchoring. Personally, that's where I fall into it. If I analyze my feet when I'm shooting, a lot of the time my left foot is slightly ahead of my right. It works for me. It's not textbook perfect, but it doesn't affect my shot, and I feel grounded. With the whole hips and turning, I have noticed with the Oneida I do lean a little more into it. Might have to work on that a little bit, but you know, again I've not had issues with shooting the Oneida, so it's not a massive problem for me. Again, textbook, you're gonna keep your back straight and everything. Keep it natural, feel relaxed, enjoy shooting. As long as, moving on to your back, as long as you know you're not really torqued like that, you should be okay with the shot. And the only reason I'd avoid doing that is that I've had back problems. I don't really want them while I'm shooting. While you're holding, however strong you've got your bow set up for, you want that weight to be evenly distributed throughout your back. It's just, it helps with longevity. It's clever, you know, and it's something to take on for everything. Having a heavy bag, for example, just on one side might not hurt that day, but give it time. Just give it time. Shoulders. Shoulders is one of those things that I have been working on for a while, and the last 2 years I think I managed to get it down. But shooting the Oneida, my shoulder line isn't really where I want it. I can change that if I change my anchor point, but if I change my anchor point, it's just I miss badly. I can't anchor under the chin. My anchor point has to be the same place every single time, regardless of which bow. But you can see it. My left shoulder is lower than my right shoulder. Yeah. But for the moment, there aren't issues with it. I don't feel any strain in my shoulders. I think I can probably get away with it with the Oneida. So, you know, small grip of the bow. I have noticed this more shooting the Oneida, that when I draw the bow back, I'm more or less holding it like this the whole time. And in the past, I've had a nasty habit of only really closing my hands after I've let the shot go. It's 50-50 if that's actually helped me or not, but there we go. But the important thing, and the thing that I've had to tweak while shooting the Oneida, is where I put my fingers actually on the string. Now it's different when you're shooting from a glove, it's different when you're shooting from a tab, because it's got that little give. The sizes are different. It's not really your hand. And if you're shooting from a release aid, again, you know, it's completely different. But what is working for me, and what's working quite well, is to line up the last knuckles of my fingers and then pull them back just using the tips. If you've not got the strength in your fingers to do that, then there's nothing really stopping you from changing your fingers slightly when you're at full draw. I know it's not amazing, it's not the best thing in the world, and you've got to be thinking about what you're doing, but in theory, at full draw, my fingers aren't where I want them. Very, very slowly slid them back, and now I'm at the knuckle, the last joint of my fingers. So when I aim up, anchor up, everything's where I want it to be, and I can do that very nice, easy release. That is working for me, and it's working for the Oneida. It's, again, that's something I've had to change ever so slightly with the Oneida, but the small change, that small working on it, that now does feel very natural. It's given me great results. The only other thing I've not necessarily had to focus on, but more practice, is I'm left eye dominant. I'm a right-handed shooter. With every other bow that I've had, the bowstring has covered up my right eye. Again, it's not a massive thing because I'm left eye dominant, but when I'm at full draw with the Oneida, I'm anchored. My right eye can see right round the string. It's an odd thing. It's just something that I've needed practicing, because for all these years, only my left eye has been shooting while the right eye has been completely covered. But you know, it works. It's working for me, and it's just one of those things I've had to practice over and over again. So that's a quick breakdown of my form. I don't think I've left anything out. If I have, let me know. But I think the best thing to do now is just to give a wide shot of me drawing. So there you go. That's my form. I think the biggest thing that has helped has been positioning the knuckles of my fingers in the way that I do. Hopefully it will help you guys. Let me know if it does. Let me know if it doesn't. See you around.